welcome to another episode of When Life podcast. Life has its ups and downs, and we want to talk about it. In this podcast, we want you to fill in the blank. When life sucks, when life is awesome, and many more. We hope you enjoy this next episode. Hey guys, welcome to another podcast of When Life. Today, we're going to be talking one more time about when life gives you fame. Adeli, welcome.
Yay.
One more time. And of course, we're going to get started with our drink of the day. We have chestnut praline from Starbucks. So let's give it a shot.
Latte. Oh, wow. That was hot.
I was like, was it good? Was it not? It is really good.
It's
so good.
I like it.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be talking about when life gives you fame. If you haven't heard the first and second episode, go back and listen to Justin Bieber and Kanye West. Today, though, we're going to be talking about Jesus. And how did Jesus handle fame? And how did he go about that? So you want to get us started?
Yeah, so I feel like the last two episodes we talked about kind of like the fame and the impact and the influence that these two individuals are having, you know, and they started off non-Christian, so, you know, it's kind of like, it's just kind of touchy, you know, for the church. But like looking at Jesus's life, it's super crazy because he was totally human, you know, like he was a nobody in a sense, and then he goes into the spotlight, you know, because of the signs and wonders and miracles, and he starts off as this like carpenter, you know, and nobody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everybody's freaking out because they're like, even in the Bible you see how they're like, isn't this the carpenter? You know, like, isn't this Joseph and Mary's kid?
Right.
You know, and now it's like he's having a following, you know,
Right.
and his impact is not like little city, you know, like it's huge. Like there's points where there's thousands of people just like following him everywhere. They're trying to like just like get close to him, trying to hear him, trying to like get power from him, getting a miracle from him. Like I just imagine like this is insane. Like imagine famous people now being followed by paparazzi, but back then it's like people would like travel, you know, like months to see this guy, you know, and it's like you didn't have social media to be like, at least they probably give famous people now like a break. Like, no, these people were on him, like thousands on him, like probably for a while.
Yeah.
So
And, you know, it's so interesting, like, how he deals with all this fame, right? Because we have this perspective of how we would deal with fame, and Jesus just, like, put up the perfect example of, like, you know, like you said, he came from being a carpenter to, like, now he's starting miracles and wonders, and he's, like, doing all these amazing things, and people are coming to him, and his disciples, you know, I feel like they get a lot of junk talk from other people because of the things that they did, but I'm like, man, I would probably do the same thing, you know, like, you know, and we see the picture of like Jesus and like kids coming up to him, and the disciples are like, no, like, don't touch him, right? And it's like, I see that as like they're just being protective, and Jesus is like, no, it's okay, you know, like just let them come. It just makes me think of like even famous people today, whenever they're like, someone wants to take a picture with them really bad, and all the guys are like, no, you can't do that. But then whenever that one famous person is like, it's okay, let them come by, it just feels like such an act of kindness. You know? And I feel like that's how Jesus did it. It's like he was just so kind to everybody.
That is such a cool thought. I really like that because it just creates that approachability and connectivity. And it's like so, like, Jesus functioned totally different, you know? Like, he was like almost a rebel to the culture, but he functioned, like, he walked in such humility, you know, and he never stopped being Jesus, you know, like, he never stopped being that, you know, like, really humble person, approachable, you know, he served people. You have those stories where he would wash their feet, you know, and it's like imagine, I don't know, like Donald Trump washing your feet, you'd be like, what? Nobody does that, you know? It's like, but here's Jesus, you know, and the way he handles his person, you know, or his character, he doesn't let this get to his head. But he like uses that influence really, like, not uses it, but really uplifts others, you know, and then places the importance on like the one, you know, or the person, you know, like you have these other stories when just there is one-on-one conversations, you know, like Zacchaeus, you know, like his disciples, he still had, you know, like one-on-one conversations with them. And I just love the way he handled his fame. It never tells you like how it got to his head. It never tells you how there's a negative. So I think it's like that example, you know, that really I hope people who have influence or leaders or famous can look to. You know, he gave us that.
Yeah, and Jesus was, you know, like one of the most powerful ways of serving someone, or of leading, a group is by being a servant leader. Mm-hmm. And Jesus just like exemplified that to the dot. You know, like you said, like even washing the feet, you know, again, we see Peter being like, no, why? Why would you do this to me? Right? Like, and I relate with that. It's like, why would you just let Jesus wash your feet? But that's what Jesus wanted to do. And that was his act of love. Yeah. And he was like, because you know, it's like just saying like, because I love you so much that I want to serve you. That's good. You know? And like we talk about how Christianity and the Christian walk is like an upside down kingdom, you know, like how usually in the world, if you want to get higher and higher and higher, you have to keep putting people down. Yeah. But here it says that the lower that you get, the higher that God's going to bring you up.
That is so cool.
And it's like Jesus literally did that.
It's true.
Every moment of his life. Yeah. You know? Yeah, go ahead.
No. And yeah, like I feel like for us now, like, you know, like how does that connect to like me, you know, like as a millennial? Yeah. And I feel like us, we have a sense of, you know, influence in whatever sphere we are, you know, like whether it be at your job, whether it be at like school, or like we're both like in worship, you know, or like if you have some kind of spotlight, it's that model to follow, you know, like that you want to build people, you don't want to like step on them, you know, you want to serve rather than like be how the world functions, you know, and it's like that's our model. Jesus handled this influence in a certain matter that he was the ultimate model. And one of the things that I really love about him, you know, in his life was that even though he had that influence and he was on the spotlight, he would always go away. Yeah. You know, he would find time to go away and meet with God. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of, we talked about it several episodes ago, you know, about like for the introvert and the extrovert, you know, it's like you still have to find that time to be with God, because that's where, you know, that's where you come alive, really, you know, and you're supposed to live life and do things out of your relationship with God, you know, so it's kind of like you see that model. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of times that was when Jesus also like recharged. Yeah. Know? I see it as that, where it's like he's still finding time alone with God, and you know, he says that he does everything that the Father wants him to do, you know, and it's like, how can you know what the Father wants you to do if you're not spending time with the Father? Right. So I just see that Jesus was like just exemplifying that like to the extreme, which was like such an amazing thing to see. And, you know, even like we have the story of like, you know, that people try to bring up where it's like, well, Jesus came in and turned tables. How does that show love? But then, you know, the context of that is the fact that he was doing it because he wanted people to have a relationship with the Father, and actually putting some kind of price on having a relationship, which was what they were doing in the temple. He was like, I'm not going to have this. So he was so passionate about relationship that he was like, I prefer to do this for the sake of everyone else than to just let you put a price on relationship, you know? So I just feel like it's a full circle of Jesus also exemplifying that our relationship with the Father is so important. That is so good. And we've been talking as millennials too about, you know, how we seek for a relationship and we seek for a place to belong, and all along it's like we belong to the Father, and our most important relationship is the one that we can have with God. That's crazy. Yeah, and I feel like really it sums up everything. Like our life begins and ends with God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and like as millennials, if there's like an encouragement or an advice we can ever like have, it's really God.
Yeah.
Like that's how you're gonna be successful in life. That's how you're gonna make it through the sucky times. That's how you're gonna make it through the awesome times.
Right.
It's like at the end of the day, it's you and God. And that's what matters most.
Absolutely.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining one more time. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Have a nice day.